In letter B, we have 24x squared plus 52x minus 20. The first thing we have to look for every time is a greatest common factor. Is there a number we can divide 24x squared, 52x, and negative 20 by? And the answer to that is yes. Each one of these is divisible by 4. So we're going to take that greatest common factor out first. And what we're left with is 6x squared plus 13x minus 5. So now what we're looking to factor is just what's inside here, the blue. 6x squared plus 13x minus 5. But in our answer, and here's one thing that people often forget, is that greatest common factor is part of your answer. My recommendation is once you take that greatest common factor out, get it ready in your answer. So we know in our answer we're going to have 4 times 2 things, 2 linear factors. So take that 4 out right away. Put it in your answer or on your answer line so you don't forget it and lose a point. Now what we're focusing on is just what's in the blue. So we need to figure out the discriminant. And again, we're going to figure out the discriminant of just what's in the blue. We're not here anymore, just here. So our b squareds, we'd do 13 squared minus 4 times 6 times negative 5. And if you do that, you get a discriminant of 289. And then you want to check that square root. Is this a perfect square? Is this something that I can continue to factor? And the answer to that is yes, we can continue to factor that. So we're going to come down here, and we're going to work on factoring that. Now, the first thing we're looking for, this number times this number has to equal here, which is 6x squared. So my possibilities for 6x squared are 6x and x. That's one pair. I could do 3x and 2x. That's my other option. Remember, we don't need negatives for the first term because we're always going to take out that negative as part of our greatest common factor. Then what we need to do is figure out the last one, which is negative 5. So we are going to look for numbers that multiply to give us negative 5. So we could do negative 5 and positive 1. Or we could do positive 5 and negative 1. These are all our options to give us negative 5. Now we've got a lot of options here. We can do 6x and x with either one of these. We could do 3x and 2x with either one of these. And from here on out, it's just a guess and a check and go back and erase. So let's say we chose 6x and x, and we're going to put those in. So we're going to say this is 6x and this is x. Then what we need to do is we need to try out all the different combinations that we have here. So if we look at the first one, negative 5 and 1, we can put the negative 5 in here and the positive 1 in here. And then we have to go through that check. So we're going to take 6x times x, which is 6x squared. Then we're going to take 6x times 1, which is 6x. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. And negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. And really the one that we have to check every time is we're looking for this middle. Does that 6x minus 5x give us the 13x that we want? Again, this part right here is the hard part to get. And positive 6 minus 5 is not 13x. So that means the combinations that we've chosen do not work. So our first option is to go back and switch those around. So sticking with the same two numbers, this first group, negative 5 and 1, I'm going to now try the 1 here and the negative 5 here. So I have plus 1 here and minus 5 here. And how is that going to change my middle term? Oops. So now what I'm doing, 6x times x is 6x squared. 6x times negative 5 is negative 30x, and 1 times x is x. And right here I can stop and I can look. Negative 30 plus x, again, is not going to give me 13. So I know that this isn't right either. So the combination of 6x and x and negative 5 and 1 does not work. So I'm going to have to go back again and get rid of that. And then get rid of these. You're going to want a pencil as you're going to be erasing quite a bit. So I know that this is out with the 6x and the x. So now let's try positive 5 and negative 1. Does that make a difference? So if I put in positive 5 here, and negative 1 here, and I go to multiply, again, 6x times x is my 6x squared. 6x times negative 1 is negative 6x, and 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 1 still gives me my negative 5. Checking this here, negative 6 plus 5 is not 13. So I know this one doesn't work. So I'm going to erase again, and I'm going to switch it. I'm going to try putting my negative 1. Let's get rid of these. Now I'm going to try putting the negative 1 here and a positive 5 here to see if that helps. 6x times x is 6x squared. 6x times 5 is 30x. Negative 1 times x is negative 1x, and then negative 5. Checking my middle here, 30 minus 1 is 29. It is not 13. So I have tried every combination with my 6x and my x that I could for this, and none of them work. So that tells me right away that 6x and x is not an option. So I can get rid of this, which tells me that 3x and 2x should work. So we're going to go back and delete. Oops. We can get rid of those and those. And now we're going to go and try 3x and 2x with the same combinations that we have here. So we could choose negative 5 and 1, 5 and negative 1, and try and see what works. So let's just try 5 and negative, or negative 5 and 1. We could also do 5 and negative 1. So let's do the bottom. Let's put the 5 in first. So we do plus 5 minus 1. And if we multiply, 3x times 2x gives us my 6x squared. 3x times negative 1 is negative 3x. 5 times 2x is going to give me 10x. And 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. If I take a look at the middle term, negative 3 plus 10 gives me 7 and not 13. So let me try to reverse these around. Let's just delete what we have here and there. Okay, so let's do it the other way around. So let's do the minus 1 in here and the positive 5 in here. If we go to multiply it out, 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 3x times 5 is a plus 15x. Negative 1 times 2x is a positive 2x. And I still have my negative 5. 15x, oops, that should be a minus 2x. So now I have 15 minus 2x, which is 13x. That's exactly what I wanted there. So now I know these are the correct factors. And so I can write those in my answer. So my answer would be 4 times 3x minus 1 times 2x plus 5. And remember, if I didn't get those right away, then I'd have to go and try these out and hope that one combination of that would work out. So again, guess and check, you get lucky. Some of you, the multiplication that you're looking for in the middle here, you'll start being able to do in your head. So not as much erasing, you'll look at these two and see if you have the right numbers. If you have questions, let me know.